Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Luna, do you want to come say hello to everybody? Luna is going to help with the video today. Maybe, we'll see how long she stays up here. Looks like little Miss Luna is just going to lay down, but in today's video I do want to talk to you guys about some of these books which are on my 2024 TBR list, and then I also want to talk to you guys about some of my reading stats from 2023. So to find out these stats, I went to myyearinbooks.com as well as Goodreads, and in 2023, I read 71 books and spent 52,319 minutes reading. To dive in even further, my top genres were romance, which honestly surprised me. I definitely thought it would have been fantasy, contemporary, which was my second most popular genre, which also really surprised me, and then in third was fantasy. My top author of this year was Penelope Douglas, and honestly that one really surprised me because I didn't feel like I read a lot of books by Penelope Douglas, but then I remembered that I read the entire Devil's Night series, also Punk 57 and Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Just going off of memory, I would say that my other top author that I read this year was Sarah J. Maas, because I did complete the entire Throne of Glass series. So looking through the 71 books that I read in 2023, I read a total of 30,776 pages. I do just want to say though that reading is supposed to be fun. You should never compare yourself, like how many books one person reads to how many books you read. We all read at our own pace, and it is not supposed to be a competition. It is just supposed to be something that we all enjoy. Also, given my jobs as a flight attendant and a YouTuber, I do have a lot more time to read than most people do with typical 9-to-5 jobs. But with all of that said, I am very excited to talk to you guys about just some of the books that are on my 2024 TBR. I know that I will read more than this and I will add more to it, but just to start off the year, this is what I am the most looking forward to reading. Starting with Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is actually my book club pick for January. I am the host of a virtual book club on the Fable app. If you would like to join, I will put a link to it in the video description box below. I would love to have you guys there. And anyway, this is the first book that we will be reading of the new year in that club. From what I have heard, this is more of an adult version of The Hunger Games. It's fantasy. There's enemies to romance, I believe, and I'm just very excited to get into this one. I've talked about these next two books multiple times on my channel, so I'm just going to briefly go over them. So this one, Where Time Stands Still, and this one, Where We Belong, both by N.S. Perkins. These two books are part of a wintry themed romance duet. So as I read these books in future vlogs, I will definitely go more into detail about them. And then of course I have to continue reading in the Sarah J. Maas universe with these books, Crescent City 1 and Crescent City 2. This first one, I mean, can we just talk about how gorgeous this cover is? It's a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. So this one is Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. And then this is the second one, also another gorgeous cover. It is also a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. And this is Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath. To be quite honest, I have no clue what these books are about. I'm going into them completely blind. All I know is that the main character's name is Bryce, and that is all that I know, and I want to keep it that way because I've had way too many books in 2023 completely spoiled for me. So I'm excited to go into these. I do not know what to expect, but I also will be filming complete spoiler reading vlogs for both of these books, as well as including non-spoiler clips from these books in future reading vlogs as well. Another fantasy on my list is Divine Rivals. Everybody loved this book last year, and then I believe the second book to the series, Ruthless Vows, just came out. I don't know much about this book other than it's two people, Iris and I don't even remember the guy's name, but they work, I think, at a newspaper, and they are rivals, and it has something to do with war with the gods, and I don't really know much else other than that. So I have very high hopes for this fantasy duet. A few standalones that I have with me. This one is Credence by Penelope Douglas. I have loved the books that I have read from Penelope Douglas. Obviously, as you can tell, she was one of my top authors from last year, so I am excited to get to this one. This is a standalone. There's no sequel to it, as far as I know. This is a book that I picked up last year, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I just haven't, but it sounds very intriguing. It is called Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It's basically about this guy, Jason. He gets kidnapped, he's knocked unconscious, and then before he awakens, he finds himself strapped to a journey surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits. Something about his life was a dream. He is not living the life that he thought he was supposed to. So I think this will be very suspenseful, twisty, and kind of like a mind-blowing type of book. I bought this book on a total whim last year. I'm probably waiting until I have time to just dive into the entire series as a whole because this is book one of an entire fantasy series, and this first one is called Broken Bonds. I was just obsessed with the cover, to be honest, and I've heard that it is really good and extremely spicy, and I don't really know much else about it, but the cover really intrigued me, so I had to pick it up. I have these next ones written down on my phone, a few other standalones that I absolutely will be reading in the next year. The first is Where's Molly? I've already pre-ordered that onto my Kindle. This is going to be a spin-off from Haunting and Hunting Adeline. I love the author H.D. Carlton, so I literally pre-ordered that book as soon as she announced it. I haven't decided when I want to read this, but I know I'm going to want to at some point, and that is Manacled. Now, this is fan fiction, which I don't really understand the definition between fan fiction and just a normal book because it's still published, I think. But Manacled is basically about what would have happened in the Harry Potter world if Harry died, like if Harry didn't defeat Voldemort. So in a world where Voldemort wins, what would that future look like? And I know that there is a romance between Hermione and Draco, and that's all I know about Manacled. Oh, and then I can't remember the name of the second book in this series, but the first one is called Butcher and Blackbird. I absolutely loved this one. It's a dark rom-com that is gory, but they are two serial killers who end up falling in love, and it was just such a unique concept of a book that I just devoured. And the second one comes out, I think, this summer, so I definitely want to continue this series. I don't even think we have a cover or a release date for this next book, but that is going to be The Primal of Blood and Bone, and that will be the From Blood and Ash series, book 6. And I did not like the last book in the series. I've talked about that before, but as a whole, I really, really love that series, and I'm excited to continue it. So as soon as that book releases, which I put in my notes that spring 2024 question mark, so maybe that's when it's supposed to release, I will definitely pick that up and read it. And then the last book that I have here on my 2024 TBR is The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and that is Holly Jackson's new book that will release April 2nd. Now, Holly Jackson wrote the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, which I absolutely fell in love with. I highly recommend. Of course, I'm going to want to read other books that she writes too. Oh my gosh, and then how could I have forgotten? I'm holding Fourth Wing right now because I don't have the physical copy of Iron Flame yet, but whenever the third book comes out to the Fourth Wing series, I don't care what I am currently reading, what I am currently doing at the time, I will drop everything and I will immediately read that book. So that is probably the release that I am hoping comes this year in 2024 that I am the absolute most excited about. But I also want to know what is on your guys' TBR for the new year. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give me a big thumbs up. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe because I would love to see you again in future content. I hope that you're having a fabulous day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!